Well, everybody, Allison Parc and I are here in our fabulous derby hat wear, playing, and I got Rumi, my dog, here who also wants to be in on the party. Allison is the owner and founder of Brenne Single Malt Whiskey, and she has an amazing business that I can't wait to share with you all. Welcome, Allison. Thank you so much for coming and spending some time with us on our virtual happy hour.
Thank you so much for having me. This is such a fun community. I'm honored to be a part.
Amazing. I'm going to take my hat off so you can see my face, but I want everyone to know that we are participating.
Okay.
So I was reading up on you, and one of the things that I was really, that I was really interested in is that you had this quote in an interview that I thought was like very different than anything that I've heard from like a lot of other business owners, which is that you said, I didn't want to simply create another of the same whiskey, but with a different label. I wanted to create something that people would either really love or hate. You can either love Brenne or hate Brenne, and that is the best compliment. If you're just wishy-washy about it, then I don't feel like I did what I set out to do. And I feel like so many business owners, they come to it and they're like, I want everybody to love everything that I do. But you took a different tack. So can you tell me a little bit about that philosophy and how that works for you?
Totally. And thank you for calling that out first. I love that. My motto in the beginning was, and still is today, create, not copy. So create, not copy. And when you really stand in the idea of creation, you would be a fool if you thought that anything that is actually original is going to be adopted by the masses. Right? So if it's truly, truly original, there's a very good chance that some people are either going to adopt and embrace or discard and say, it's not for me or not for me right now. And there's no wrong in that, right? Everyone's entitled to their own appreciation. So.
Yeah, I have a teacher who often says like, know who your work is for, but also know who your work is not for. And so like, if your work is resonating with the people that you made it for, then great. And if it's not resonating with the people that you didn't make it for, then that's also great. So it's win-win.
Completely.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I don't know how many of our viewers are whiskey people. We're obviously Rosé Mansions, so we are wine drinkers, but we obviously embrace all kinds of tipples. So can you talk a little bit about your love affair with whiskey and what you enjoyed about it? Why did you decide that you wanted to make your own brand, and what's different about your brand?
Totally. I think wine is a really perfect sister spirit to whiskey is a perfect sister spirit to wine. With Brenne, I actually do call this the Rosé drinkers whiskey. It's a single malt, which might scare a lot of people. It's a category that's traditionally been very like older and like stodgy and smoky and puts hair on your chest when you drink it. I wanted to make a whiskey that was both reflective of terroir. So this word we talk about in wine, right? Like having a sense of place in the taste. And to do that, you have to really be mindful of the earth. So we're 100% organic, we're 100% seed to spirit, and we're 100% locally made. And then I also wanted to have a flavor profile that's really approachable and welcoming and fun. So for Brenne, it tastes like blueberry muffin tops, creme brulee, and bananas Foster. And what's wrong with that?
I count me in immediately. I mean, I love whiskey anyway, and so I'm really excited I think I have a bottle on its way to me, so I'm really excited to taste it and to enjoy it. But I mean, when I read the descriptors, I was like, who is not going to want to pick that up and drink it? It sounds amazing.
Thanks.
And yeah, it is kind of true that traditionally, I think like whiskey and other brown spirits get pushed into this like very masculine category for whatever reason. And women who enjoy whiskey are kind of like, oh, out of the box, or she's like trying to be one of the boys or something like that. And it seems like this brand, just because it comes from you and your interest in it, feels like it has a little bit more of a relationship to being like accessible to women and having more of like a feminine energy.
I hope so. I think, our best creations are reflective of our kind of true spirit, right? Who are we really? And in that, I think if I can give a little piece of my happiness and joy and love into every single one of the bottles, and if that gets to be felt and experienced, fantastic.
Great. Well, we're so excited. We're going to make a cocktail today on our happy hour that's going to have whiskey in it. So hopefully everyone will get your whiskey and be able to use it because it sounds like it would be a perfect marriage with our like fake mint julep that we're going to make. So okay, you started off as a dancer and a ballerina, and I can relate because I have spent my life in dance and theater too. So I understand that lifestyle and love
Cool.
being able to express myself that way. And I think a lot of artists kind of get to a point where they're like, okay, what's the next thing? How do I translate this lifestyle to something else? And I know that with the pandemic and with everything that's going on, we're all experiencing a lot of lifestyle shifts, whether it's our job or just, working from home. So can you talk a little bit about your journey from being a dancer to being an entrepreneur and how that was for you?
Yeah. I read somewhere around that time that women, I think it was men on average in their life cycle, and I'm sure those numbers have been updated and changed at this point, but in the early 2000s, it was men might like reinvent themselves about 3 to 4 times in their life, and women do so on an average of 6 times. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, that number really surprised me. I loved that kind of doubling effect. And I just remember going, cool, this is like one of my times. I'm going to reinvent myself. And I think it's really important, and especially where we are today with the pandemic and allowing people, right, as an artist, we're taught to allow yourself to feel all the feels, right? And be really present and grounded with where you are. And there's nothing wrong with where you are, right? If you're angry today, that's okay. You can be angry today. If you're just farting rainbows, you can fart rainbows today. Like, cool. And so I had to really get present to what my mindset is doing in any given day, especially during the pandemic, and anytime I'm looking to make a change, because I think you can really operate from 2 places, either fear or this optimistic positivity opportunity of creation, right? And if you're in fear, for me, when I live a day in pandemic land in fear, that's when I start to really panic and can escalate to panic attacks. If I can stand in, this is an opportunity to create, then I have an amazing day and I have a much better day. And so I take that, I try and take that right now, day by day, but also when I'm doing things like a big life change, a career change, a move, a relationship change or something, can I get conscious to how I'm standing, and can I help myself stand in a space of creation? And with that, create something really beautiful and new versus fighting, trying to hold on to being tight or overly attached to things.
Wow, that's such a great lesson for us all to take. I find that myself too when I'm, it varies moment to moment and day to day how I'm feeling. I'm sure everybody else is the same, but yeah, when you can really say, okay, what is the possibility in this moment? There's like a lot more expansiveness behind that is really exciting, actually, in a way. I mean, not to discount the suffering and the fear and all the hardship that's going on right now. We don't ever want to minimize that, but there are opportunities within this. And so I think that's a really great lesson to take away. So if I read this correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you were 25, you basically said, here's my life savings to a Frenchman that you didn't really know for that long and said, hey, I want to make my whiskey brand. That's a pretty gutsy move, and I don't know that it's one that most people would take. So can you talk us through that decision and that journey?
Oh, God, so this tomorrow, May 1st, is my birthday, and I'm turning 38. And this decision was made, yes, as you, woo!
38's pretty good, I'll tell you.
Thanks, I'm so excited. I'm starting with a 38-minute yoga class, so I think that's like a perfect.
Yeah.
But I was early 20s, 25, something right around there. And you'd think with such a monument moment in your life, you'd remember what age you were, but that's a blur. But I remember the moment. I just remember I had $86,000 in my savings account, and I had already been on a long journey to, at first I was looking for a whiskey that was using only local ingredients. And then when I couldn't find that, I decided to make it myself. I chose France for a variety of reasons. I'd already been on such a long journey of discovery to get into formation, that when it came time to pulling the trigger, my college degree is in jazz hands, right? I'm like, I have a college degree.
I can relate.
Yes. But you know, I hadn't gone to business school. I didn't have a business degree. I still haven't taken a class in business. But you know, I had to learn, like, what does a business plan look like? What is a P&L statement and all that stuff? And with $86,000, just, it wasn't like that was any impressive sum of money that was going to earn me something big in the stock market, right? I was conscious of that. So I thought, if I'm looking to invest my savings in some way, I know my work ethic. And I think I'm the surest investment out there. And I also knew I wasn't going to win in raising capital. That was going to be a very, very hard bridge for me to win, because ex-ballerina, going to France where I didn't speak the language to make terroir in single malt whiskeys, when the US, our largest market, wasn't even mentally ready for international or world whiskeys. That was too many hurdles that I wasn't going to get investment. So I thought, you know, I'm the best. I believe in myself. So it was a terrifying and also very motivating moment to wire my entire life savings to this man. And this man is he was like the distiller, the farmer of this product. So when I knew I had sunk all my money there, I was like, I got to make this work.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so is he like, I'm picturing in my head this like old French farm hand with like a linen outfit and a cap. No?
That's who I thought I was meeting. And he's super camera shy. There's no photos of him anywhere. He doesn't like his name out there. Like, he's really, he just likes to live in his own little world. And so I had no idea who I was meeting when I went out to France for the first time to meet with him. And I was 24 when I met him. He was 28. And he like picks me up. He's like, "Hey, I was just doing a house party. Come on in." And I was like, what is happening? But I met his father. The grandfather started this farm distillery. And so in walking into their house, which is attached to the distillery, I got to meet my distiller's father. And there was my quintessential elderly French gentleman with his little beret. And he had made a papaya salad for the neighbor down the street. And it was just this like surreal moment. He's like, "Allison, I just tasted the whiskey this morning. It is excellent." I was like, yay.
Oh, good. I'm so glad that there's like an old French man in a beret involved, because I would have been very disappointed. So, okay, you have 2 different whiskeys in your portfolio. Is that right? Or are there more now?
2.
Look at the bottles. They're so beautiful. They're very sexy, I think.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about each one of them and, how they're different?
Yeah. So when people talk about Brenne, they mostly talk about estate cask, which is what we call the light blue one. Looks like this. This I call French blue, baby blue. I call this our all the time whiskey, right? This is celebration. This is hanging out with friends. This is cocktail. This is before, during, after a meal. This is super friendly. Everyone's welcome to the party with estate cask. And we have plenty of it. Like this, Brenne 10 is very, very limited. We do it once a year. We have about 300 cases a year. It's drier, it's spicier, it's deeper, it's more complex. It seems to appeal more towards the traditional whiskey drinkers, yet also we still bring a lot of our core consumers of this over to here. But most people, when they do a side by side, they love the approachability and the originality and the fresh fruits of this. So I say estate cask tastes like blueberry muffin tops, creme brulee, banana foster. Brenne 10 tastes like dark chocolate, dried fruits, and warm spices, baking spices.
Oh my gosh, you are making me want it right now. That sounds delicious. And what's your favorite way to drink them? Like, are you a rocks girl? Are you neat? Are you cocktails? What do you like to do with them?
I think my favorite way to drink them is just directly from a glass. But for Brenne 10, for me, I am a traditionalist. This is a slow sipper for me. That is
Hmm.
neat in the glass. Maybe if it's the summer and I'm feeling really hot, I'll put one big ice cube in it.
Hmm.
State cask, I love this. Neat rocks, of course. Old fashions in a highball. Just mix it. I like Brenne and Perrier together because it's French water, French whiskey. It works really nicely.
Ooh,
Yeah, and I love it in Manhattans and Sazerac. So lots of variability with the estate cask.
wonderful. Well, I can't wait to try. Um, so wait, let me find my question here. Yeah, I feel like we've covered a lot of the stuff that I wanted to talk about. Can you tell us how we can get your whiskey? I know everybody's having a little bit of a hard time with like order fulfillment and stuff right now. So what's the best way for us to get our hands on some?
Yeah, thanks. The Drizzlies, mini bars, those kind of apps, they're doing their best to be able to fulfill deliveries. And before COVID, they were really, delivery within an hour, and now it's sometimes taking a little bit longer. As you know, your bottle is sitting somewhere. We'll get
I'll
it.
wait patiently, no worries.
Thank you. Online ordering from sites like Reserve Bar and Caskers. I hear that they also seem to have a bit of a backlog right now. So apologies, everyone's doing their best in our industry. And then also just local liquor stores, the more the boutique ones who might be doing curbside pickup. But I really encourage everyone, if you're curious about it, ask your local liquor store for it, especially after COVID, because we are distributed in a lot of these states, and it might not just have pulled through to your local liquor store.
And are you nationwide? Are you worldwide? What is your distribution right now?
Yeah, with Brenne 10 is only available in the US. Estate Cast, we're in about 10, 12 countries with this so far. So,
Wow.
and we are nationwide, not so much with 10. Again, you can ask, we are registered for both of these products in a lot of states around the US. So just ask your stores and they should be able to pull it through from distributors. But this is going to be a little bit more widely available, and still, we're small and it's a little hard to find us, but we're out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's a really good point too. If you go to your liquor store and you have especially if you have a relationship with your liquor store, oftentimes you can say, "Hey, can you get this in for me?" And they'll order it just like a local bookstore would get a book in that they don't carry in stock. So don't ever feel like you can't get something that you want. You can always ask and hope that they can get it in for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes a difference. Like we're this small little brand that started with a big dream and a lot of grit. And we've been able to survive and thrive and grow up to this point. Right now with COVID, I mean, so much of our revenue streams were coming in from restaurants. So we really took a hit. All the small brands right now are scrambling. Some are closing. We're going to be able to pull through. But it's a really hard time. And so if I especially with cocktails, I talk about it like if you make a salad and you get your farmer's market lettuce versus your big grocery store shipped from Chile or somewhere far away iceberg. You're going to notice a difference in the quality of ingredients that you make your salad. It's the same thing with cocktails, right? You're just building quality ingredients into your drinks. So if you are able to and curious to support small business, seek out the craft producers. It makes a huge difference. It keeps the lights on for us, and it'll also make hopefully a really exciting difference for you in your cocktail builds.
Yeah, thank you for reminding us of that. And that's why we love to have people like you come and talk to our audience, because that's what we do at Rosé Mansion too. Like all of the wine that we serve in the mansion are wines that we choose because our founders have relationships with the producers or with the distributors, and so we really want to support small business and make sure that people know that like business is personal. It's about the human connection. And so that's what we're trying to do, is like let people see you, let people get to know you. Like I've just met you today and I already feel like we should be best friends. So that's how you can feel good about spending your money, especially at a time when money is scarce, is putting it behind people that you feel a connection to, and that's how we're all going to get through this, is keep, continuing to connect in any way that we can. So I guess one other question that I didn't ask that I wanted to just touch on is, because this is of particular interest to me, being an artist myself, is how do you think that your life as an artist prepared you for life as an entrepreneur? Because I'm very interested in seeing more artists come into sort of the business world and make an impact there.
I love that. Me too. Can we go start a nonprofit together to
Yes,
encourage,
please.
train? let's shepherd more artists into the world of business. And also, I don't typically wear such flowy things for business calls, but I thought Rosé mentioned I could put on my fun flowies.
Of course, the flowier and more fun, the better. The sparklier, the
better. The question being, how does being an artist prepare you for business? I think work ethic, sacrifice, right? To be an artist, you understand so intrinsically day in, day out what sacrifice really means to accomplish a goal. And I think when people make the jump into entrepreneurship in particular, they're often surprised with just how hard it is and how much you have to work to even get your dream, off the ground in some way. So I think artists really understand what it's like to put on one single production, right? And that's what launching a business is, putting on a giant production. So I think grit, I think work ethic, I think tenacity, I think creativity. I was a really valuable employee at 2 different companies prior to starting Brenne. And I realized I had a lot of shame because I hadn't gone to business school. And then I realized everyone was hiring me because I hadn't gone to business school, because I could look at things from a completely different lens, because I didn't have a preset filter of what business looked like and business should be. So artists are incredible at taking an empty dance studio and making a masterpiece within it. And I think for artists going into business, that's what they can see really fast. What's beautiful here? What could work together? What departments could I pull together to make something magical? And it's non-traditional, and that's what our world really needs right now. We're going to come out of this, and I don't think our world is going to look the same. It's going to be like a kaleidoscope. Colors and patterns might look familiar, but they're going to be in totally different formations. So we need the artists to guide us in business to say, this is what the possibilities of the future are.
Yeah, that's so well put. And it does give me a sense of pride as somebody who sometimes feels like, oh gosh, I don't have the right skills for certain aspects of what I'm doing. But I have a lot of other skills that if I'm used to turning things on their head and looking at them in a new way. And, I think this new world after this pandemic is over, whatever that is going to require so much creativity and so much ingenuity in terms of solving problems that weren't there before. So yeah, I'm really impressed with everything that you've accomplished. I mean, your whiskey is so highly reviewed, and it's just so cool to see someone thrive after a career in the arts.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you still dance?
Only around my apartment.
Yeah. I'm doing a lot of that lately myself.
I'm also I'm not totally embarrassed to just bust out dancing in the street sometimes too. All of a sudden I might be feeling something and I will be the crazy person walking down the street. You can see that on my Instagram. I do film those sometimes.
Great. Well, definitely everyone go check out Allison's Instagram. And actually, would you talk us through your social handles and everything so we can find you?
Yeah, thank you. Me personally, my last name is Parc, but it's not the English spelling, it's the French spelling. So it's P-A-R-C. So Allison is A-L-L-I-S-O-N, P-A-R-C, no spaces, no dashes. And Brenne Whisky, for whiskey, we do it, of course, everything is multiple options for spelling. We do spelling of whiskey with no E. So it's just Brenne, B-R-E-N-N-E, W-H-I-S-K-Y, and it will direct you to our amazing Instagram over there.
Thank you so much, Allison. Is anything else that you wanted to say before we sign off?
Gosh, thank you for letting me spend my birthday with you. Woo!
Yay, happy birthday. Yes, we're going to shout you out later and hope you can stick around for the worst birthday song on the internet, which we will be doing at the end of our show today.
It's so exciting. I will definitely try to be there. That sounds fabulous.
Yes. Well, happy birthday. We wish you a year full of success and new adventures. Who knows what the world is going to look like by this time next year. We hope it will be what you're envisioning as a place full of opportunities. So thank you so much, Allison Parc from Brenne Whisky. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you.